Every journey starts with an idea. This one began with my son Ben and I wanting to do a road trip together before he moves south later this year. But not a normal point-to-point road trip. Something different. Something with a bit of adventure. We decided on a circumnavigation of New England, touching all 6 states. I already had the perfect car, my 2018 manual transmission Subaru Crosstrek. It can go anywhere, with the right tires, of course. It just so happens that Vredestein, the 113-year-old Dutch tire company, recently introduced the Pinza, a new all-terrain tire. The Pinza looks pretty darn aggressive, yet promised excellent all-round performance, a quiet, comfortable ride, and great handling on any surface, and a real plus in any weather. All we needed was a set of sharp rally-style wheels and some off-road gear to finish the package. Fortunately, LP Aventure makes some seriously hardcore Subaru off-road products. They supplied us with their skid plate, bumper guard, rock sliders, and sweet-looking 15-inch bronze LP5 wheels. My local dealer, Colonial Subaru in Danbury, Connecticut, installed all the gear and made sure the car was ready. Since we would be on the road so much and needed to change batteries, AI Design in Tuckahoe, New York, seamlessly integrated AC outlets and additional USB outlets in the center stack and behind the console in the back seat. If you squint hard enough, you get some classic Subaru rally vibes out of the car. So here we are, the car is basically ready for the journey. Starting here, going all the way around the perimeter of New England, covering all 6 states and hitting as many different types of roads and different types of surfaces as we can to showcase what these Vredestein Pinzas can do. I think we're good to go.
It's important. Last checks, Roger. What are you working?
Got to do it. Got to get the car all ready to go. You have to see. That's the most important thing I found. Seeing is good. As we rolled out of my southern Connecticut driveway, I was pretty stoked as I had been planning this trip for a couple of months. Since Ben currently lives in Boston, we would pick him up en route. But we had a few stops along the way. First up, Stanford's Lakeside Diner for their legendary cinnamon sugar donuts. They make them all day long, so the donuts are always warm and tasty. Donuts, baby! It's all worth it for these, because these are the best donuts you're ever gonna have. Properly sugared and caffeinated, we jumped on the historic Mirror Parkway, heading northeast towards Stratford, the town where I grew up. We jumped off the Mirror Parkway near the Sikorsky helicopter plant, so I could show the guys one of my favorite childhood spots, Booth Memorial Park. One of the more recent additions to the park is a toll booth from the nearby parkway that was preserved when all the tolls were removed. Onward to our next stop, Westerly, Rhode Island. While Westerly is a popular tourist destination in the summer for its soft sand beaches, we weren't going for the sunbathing. With 4-wheel drive vehicles allowed on East Beach, we thought it would be a great spot to get some video. In the shadow of the swanky Ocean House Resort, I pulled onto the beach. The Pinza shod Crosstrek handled the soft sand with ease. Spotting the wet sand near the water's edge, I figured it would be a hard pack and I could get up some speed. Mistake number 1.
Are we stuck?
I was actually better off there in the soft stuff than this stuff, which is like concrete. There's a reason no one else drove here. I should have realized that this was a mistake. The plan is, fortunately, we brought some recovery tracks with us that will help us hopefully get the vehicle out. Keep going. That worked really well, actually.
It did.
Thank you, gentlemen. That was awesome. I did not expect it to just keep moving. I thought it was going to stop again.
That's our hotel for tonight?
That is not our hotel. However,
It
I
could
like
be.
the way you think. Crisis averted, we continue on to our next destination.
Lots of miles to go.
Oh yeah. Before we sleep, is that what they say?
Yeah.
Founded in 2014, the Audrain Automobile Museum is housed in a Gilded Age building on Newport's Bellevue Ave. With a collection of over 350 cars in 2 large warehouses, the museum is a rarity in that it completely changes their exhibit every 3 months. Audrain's Senior Vice President Scott McLeod took us through the museum and gave us a private tour of the warehouses.
How many cars do you guys own between the 3 partners?
About 450 cars and motorcycles.
Wow.
The cool thing is they're all drivable, they're all insured, they're all registered.
Wow.
So they get driven.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know you had a Vector. Oh my God.
The Vector is pretty cool.
Dude, if any car said the future, it was this at the time.
If a car was a mattress, it would just seat you do in the back of this car.
It's big, right?
Yeah, look at that interior. That's awesome. 7 of 25 produced. Well, thanks again, Scott.
no
really
problem.
appreciate
Nice.
it. And
I'm
yeah,
glad
we'll
you
stay.
all could come up here and
Oh, we're glad to be here, believe me. All right, now we head off to Subaru of New England with our Subarus.
We next headed to a mecca of sorts for Subaru owners, the 165,000 square foot Subaru New England headquarters in Norwood, Massachusetts.
Hey guys, how you doing? Thank you. Excited to be here. This is
Welcome to Subaru New England, Roger. We're glad to have you. Be
Thank
part
you.
of your journey.
yes.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here. Let's do it.
Come on, let's take the tour.
All right.
Vice President Brian Dumays and Caitlin Massey and Andrea Mendez from the marketing team gave us an exclusive tour of the entire building. First up were the executive offices. Subaru New England CEO Ernie Bach Jr., an accomplished musician himself, has a serious guitar collection, numbering more than 80. Jeez. During his frequent travels to Japan, Ernie has also amassed an impressive variety of art, which is displayed throughout the building and is reflected in the overall decor. We then popped into the ginormous 90,000 square foot warehouse.
Wow. Yikes.
This high bay facility features a wild modular racking and retrieval system to deliver nearly any part overnight to their 64 dealers.
We load up the trucks, they go out at night, right? And they do what we call nighttime unattended. They roll up the garage door, put the parts in the dealership, lock it up, and we have a 97% fill rate. 97% of the stuff all flows through here.
That's incredible that you're able to have that many different SKUs here.
Yeah.
Our last stop, the vintage Subaru collection in the basement.
Whoa. Yeah, I'm loving this, and I mean SVX. I mean, come on. Who has an SVX in their basement, right? You guys do.
While S&E has a funky stretch Tribeca in their collection, they're missing a brat. And that's an omission I hope they correct soon.
This is amazing. I want to thank you for having us. I mean, this is an incredible experience. Was not expecting what we found here. You have probably the coolest corporate headquarters in New England for sure. But thank you so much. Really appreciate it. All right.
Yeah, very welcome, very cool.
See you later, guys.
Back on the road, the next stop is Brookline, Mass. to pick up my son, Ben.
Welcome, Ben. Nice to meet you. Welcome to our gypsy troop.
Oh man, we made it to dinner. And we got
Look what else
the number one offspring, which is a beautiful thing.
Now it's an official father and son road trip. But Ben and I aren't the only father and son team. Our cinematography crew of brothers Tom and Jack Morningstar are also accompanied by their dad Joe in the Chase Crosstrek. With the full crew finally together, we dined at one of Ben's favorites, the Public House, and planned for the next day.
Looking forward to spending some quality time with my dad, driving this car. Because my car's not a manual anymore. I used to have a manual and I don't anymore. So looking forward to stretching those muscles again, both literally and metaphorically. And I'm looking forward to going up to parts of New England that I haven't been to in a while, or ever.
We are heading to our next destination, which is South Portland, Maine. But first, where we stop?
Duncan. We gotta stop at Duncan. We're in Boston.
We have a classic Dunkin' gift card that Tom has graciously donated to the car. So, thank you, sir.
And the doorman is donated as well.
Thank you, thank you.
Ben was happy to drive while I handled the navigation. I was hoping to stay off the highways, but as we meandered through the northern suburbs, and after too much traffic and way too many stoplights, we needed to make up some time. So we jumped on I-95 for a stretch.
Down at the water's edge, we were just looking out.
Entering Maine, we exited onto Route 1 and headed north to Portland. Portland is home to some great restaurants, but also an excellent New England pizza chain called Otto's. Portland is also home to our buddy Ryan Symancek. Ryan is a talented rally driver, a filmmaker, and an all-around fun guy.
The color is epic. This is such a cool color.
Thank you.
This is why everybody has this color. And if you go over to Washington Ave right now and you make a left, you're going to see 3 more of these exact same cars, and we don't know who owns them. Everybody bought one, and oh, we got some music. But yeah, all right. Good luck, boys.
Carved up, we're back on the road taking Route 1 north. At nearly 2,400 miles, Route 1 is the longest north-south roadway in the U.S., running all the way south to Key West. But we're heading in the other direction, to its terminus at the Canadian border. To me, the section of Route 1 through Maine is also the most scenic part. While you'll still encounter the occasional strip mall and muffler shop, the rocky Maine coast is on full display. As we get farther north, each turn of the road offers another vista. This might be one of North America's most beautiful drives. We arrive in Bar Harbor at low tide, as the sun is beginning to set. Perfect timing for a drive on the harbor sandbar to get some photos.
So we just were driving the Bar Harbor sandbar, and we got to experience the Pinza Audrain tires on rocks, on sand, and they were fantastic in all the various conditions. We drove on the sandbar that is the famous one that absorbed a Bronco a couple weeks ago and actually submerged it. But we were smart enough to leave before the tide came.
Now it was time for a well-earned dinner and local beers at my favorite Bar Harbor tavern, the Thirsty Whale. And yes, I ordered a lobster roll because Maine. We start the day with a hearty breakfast at Two Cats with omelets, blueberry pancakes, fresh squeezed orange juice, and lots of coffee. I've been to Acadia National Park a dozen times. There are more than 150 miles of exceptional hiking trails with everything from easy strolls to sheer cliff faces with metal rungs and narrow ledges. On this trip, sadly there is no time for a hike, but we still wanted to drive on the Park Loop Road to take in the stunning scenery. Before leaving the park, we take a run up to the top of Cadillac Mountain, the first place in the continental U.S. to see the sunrise.
Here we are at the top of Cadillac Mountain. The view is spectacular. The only disappointing thing is we don't have bicycles because the ride down is truly incredible. And the switchbacks just crank. It's amazing.
The switchbacks give us a good chance to test the handling on the Vredesteins. Unlike other all-terrain tires I've tried, the Pinzas offer great feedback and really crisp handling. I'm loving them so far.
So here's our Last stop in Bar Harbor in Acadia, which is the Jordan Pond House. Unfortunately, they're not open right now, so we can't have their amazing popovers, but we still have this view. So see you later, Acadia. Till next time. 1, 2, 3. All right, we got the shot, dude.
You did it.
Ready? Let's hit it.
Yeah.
From Acadia, we head north a short distance until we stumble upon our first weird roadside attraction, Wild Blueberry Land. Built around a giant blue geodesic dome, this shrine to Maine's tastiest orb wouldn't be out of place in a David Lynch movie. Sadly, it was closed, but I've made a point to visit during blueberry season. Our next stop is the farthest point east in the U.S., West Quoddy Head Lighthouse. It's peaceful as we look out over the Narrows to New Brunswick. For about 10 minutes, there are no humans or cars farther east in the U.S. than us.
Found our first lighthouse. It happens to be the farthest eastern point in the continental United States. Now we have to go back, heading northwest to get to our next destination because there is no more east.
As we drive through the parking lot on our way out, we meet Suzanne Ottendorfer and Siegfried Weinert from Austria. The couple had just arrived in the U.S. with their massive overlanding RV and were beginning an 18-month journey traveling the entire North and South American continents and Antarctica. How long have you been planning the trip?
5 years, because both our employers give us the opportunity to work 4 years for 80% of the salary and get the 5th year off, also getting 80% of the salary. So we're still employed, we have insurance, we have pension, retirement insurance, and everything.
Great.
Let's move to Austria.
What are we doing?
We head back to Route 1, continuing north as the landscape gets more rural, dotted with farms and silos. Following along the Canadian border and the St. John River, we finally hit the end, actually the beginning, of Route 1 in Fort Kent.
Started here, went, day 1 was about here-ish.
Yeah.
Day 2 was about here-ish. And then yesterday, day 3, went from here, Bar Harbor, Acadia, all the way to the easternmost point of the continental U.S., and then all the way up to where we are now, which is close to the northernmost part of Maine. Now comes the tricky part. We need to get from up here to here.
Actually, no.
Or so? So we're crossing
over here, actually. Yeah. So we're crossing into Canada here, where there aren't any real roads. It's just these private dirt logging roads that we're going to attempt to cross a very little used border crossing in St. Pamphile. So, should be fun.
Should be fun.
Yeah.
We'll see.
All right, let's do it.
Day 4 was the day we were most anticipating, and waking to sub-freezing temperatures and the cars covered in frost only heightened our excitement levels. With the mercury heading to the upper 50s, we're pumped for what's ahead.
We got our MERS radio to communicate with the logging truck, so we're good.
I could see my breath this morning. It was so cold. There was frost on the car.
This is the real Maine.
Yeah. We're just east and south of Fort Kent, where we stayed the night at the terminus of Route 1, America's First Mile. Now we're heading east and south, where the public roads sort of stop, and we're sort of by necessity going to have to take a bunch of logging roads.
We have some snow up here on the side of the road.
We do have some snow up here.
And,
it's tourist season, and we've got snow on the side of the road. We might be coming to a gate soon. Don't let this happen to you. Log trucks have right of way always. And that's a picture of a pickup truck, or what used to be a pickup truck. Oh yeah, all right, we are f***ing in it now.
These logging roads are only basically maintained. They're pretty rough in parts, but the biggest issue is the unplowed snow. And because the temperature is at like 55 degrees right now, all the snow that came a few days ago is compacted into like cement. It's just
really hard to get through. It's been a challenge in parts, but we're still persevering. We feel like we're on a rally stage because we don't know what's around every corner. It's been pretty exciting and exhilarating and a little terrifying at times.
Wahoo!
Can we make it over there?
Let the record show that the un-Vredestein equipped car is stuck.
It had nothing to do with me having to stop behind you either.
I was exploring the scenery. Well, we're going to get it out one way or another. We may have to tow it with the other vehicle, but we have to decide if we're going to be able to continue on this route or have to take another alternate logging road, because the snow is like concrete basically. It's just absorbing the vehicle and sucking it right in, so it's going to be difficult, I think, going forward, but we'll see. We are definitely non-Mainers.
Yeah, not even.
I don't even think most Mainers would be prepared for this. This is not an area most people actually go. There's a reason why it's not plowed. After a couple of attempts with the recovery boards giving some traction, we were able to finally free the car. But for how long? With no cell service or satellite phone, we were on our own, which left me as the team leader with a decision to make.
If both cars are stuck, we will be 20 miles from anything.
We keep pushing forward until we are forced to turn back. I think if we keep the momentum going like we have been over this stuff, we can get through the parts that are really sticky. Yeah. If it's open like this, we're good. If it's going to be tight and there's a fall off on the side of the road, it could be a little trickier, but you know. I say press onward. Ben, I need you to keep your eyes peeled in all directions.
Uh-huh. Man, I should have learned like rally co-pilot terminology for this stuff. Long right, 15, slight left.
Two Subarus, man, are holding up like champs. So the total distance of the off-road is about, I think, 87 miles from Fort Kent, basically, to the border crossing. And we still have, I think, another 15 or so to go. With the temperature rising and less tree cover, the remaining roads had little snow. This gave us a chance to explore the dirt and gravel traction of the tires and had us feeling confident we might actually make it to the border crossing. Finally, we rounded a bend to find the border crossing dead ahead. The Fort Kent crossing was large and intimidating, but this logging crossing is just a quaint little shack. While the Maine side of the border is devoid of any signs of life, the Canadian side is bustling as the roadway splits a sprawling logging operation. Where the first half of the day was intense, the second half was uneventful. From St. Pamphile, we still had about 5.5 hours of driving to get to our hotel in Newport, Vermont. Along this stretch, the scenery north of the border looks very much like the U.S. side: farmland, open spaces, and long stretches of laser-straight asphalt. We re-entered the U.S. at the border crossing on Route 3 in New Hampshire. We motor on, working our way through New Hampshire, then into Vermont. Our route has us driving west to Alburgh, Vermont, and then south across the islands of Lake Champlain. On paper, I expected this to be beautiful. It's not, and construction delays and traffic jams only add to the disappointment. Our first stop of the day is the new VIP Tires and Service location in Shelburne, Vermont. We're greeted by Greg Bagley, Special Projects Manager.
Vredestein's been pretty good, so far with giving us as much information as we need about the tires, and very new line. We're excited about it. The tires have great tread designs. I'm putting them on my own vehicle. I have a Chevy 1500, so they're going to go on there with the Pinza ATs. My daughter's car is going to be getting the quad tracks.
We bring my Crosstrek into one of the bays and get it on the lift to see what damage we may have caused. The severity of the last day is immediately evident based upon the scarring on the skid plate. Before this trip, I was thinking the lower body protection was a bit of overkill, but seeing this, I'm glad as hell I did it. I can't say enough good things about the LP Aventure products. The quality is exceptional and they work. Leaving the shop, it's getting to be lunchtime. In this part of Vermont, there was only one option, the Ben & Jerry's factory in Waterbury. With the factory tour closed, there was no line to get their freshest offerings and best selection. Who says ice cream isn't a meal? As my co-driver Ben noted, nothing says Vermont more than a couple of Subarus at Ben & Jerry's. We get back to the Vermont-New York border and jump on Route 7, the road that will take us back to our starting point in southern Connecticut. We reflect on the last 5 days. Sure, we're exhausted, but we're already considering our next road trip adventure. For a great road trip, all you really need is good company, a good car, and good tires. The rest, as they say, is where the memories come from.
Wanna get gone.